What's going on, guys? So we've been staying steadily busy, so I haven't been able to get a video uploaded, but I got a little slideshow here and talk a little bit about what's going on. We did these Lowe's tent setups. It's been in one of my videos. They've all went well. They all put up fine. We had trouble on a couple of them that were just really hard for us to stake down. We had asphalt over concrete, and at the time we didn't know about it. Before we traveled down there, they told us it was asphalt. Apparently no one knew there was concrete underneath that, so we didn't have the right bit size for our drill to drill through that concrete for our stakes. So we would still stake it, because if we put eye bolts in, those eye bolts will pull out. You can't put an eye bolt in concrete, or anchor in concrete, because to do that, the anchors don't have enough force to expand, and there's not enough. The concrete, the asphalt is too soft to be able to hold that anchor in the ground, basically. So we can't put an anchor in. So we can. Our options are, we can drill down past the asphalt, which is about 3 inches, and then put our anchor in the ground, in the concrete, but then your anchor is about 3 inches lower than it should be. So that's not what we like to do, and it doesn't really work. It's just hard to do it that way. So what we would do, we would treat it as down that far, and then we put our stake in the ground. But to do this, we use a 7/8 inch stake, so we use 1 inch wide drill bit to drill down past the concrete and everything, and then put your stake in the ground, and that way it'll still stay tight. If you use 7/8, it's too tight still. But anyway, so that's how we do it. By the time we were planning on doing anchors, and we did not have the 1 inch drill bit with us. So this first picture I'll show you, you'll see the tent fell down, pretty much. Now the center poles are standing up, but we have a lot of the side poles are down. About half or so of the side poles are down. 3 corner poles and about half the side poles are down. Center poles are still up. But in this case here, we didn't have the right bit, so the stakes only went in the ground about 3 inches or so, and that's as far as we can get them, because we could not hit it past the concrete. And so what happened was the strap slid up the stake, and that's what loosened the tent, and made it get loose and fall down. So your strap's at the very bottom, and the stakes, 36 inches up there, and that strap slid to the very top, and it had the flex of the stake, and that's what made it fall down. So that's what this first picture is. I'll let you go ahead and look at that little slideshow a little bit of this, the first time it fell down, and that's how it looked here. All right, so there you see it's on the ground. So we got called back out. We were pretty sure we were gonna have to get called back out to fix this tent. So when we pushed those ratchets down, we did zip tie them at the bottom, but zip ties don't hold, not for that good of strength. So we were pretty sure we'd get called back out for this tent, and we did. So we got called back out for this tent here. At this point, the trees were not under the tents, so it was very easy to go out there and fix the tent. It still took a while, because what we had to do was go out there and pull each stake out. You pull 1 or 2 out, then you drill the hole the right way, you put the stake back in, you pull your next 2 out, and so the tent stays up as you do that. So we went around the whole tent and got all the stakes into the ground about normal height, about 3 or 4 inches out of the ground. we got called back out maybe 3 days later, saying the tent fell again. So we went out, we got pictures of the tent, went out there, didn't really know the reasoning of why it fell down this time. All the tents, the straps were tight, the stakes were in the ground. Nothing that we saw of reason why it fell. Now they did say they had some fairly strong winds, about 20-30 mile an hour, but that's really not that strong for this tent. So that shouldn't have really been a factor. So what we did, we stood it back up, we tightened it, and then our poles, well actually our side poles have a hole at the very bottom of the pole. So what we did was, and we've done this before, we went inside, and we do this normally on decks or sometimes asphalt. We have done asphalt also. Sometime where we think that the side pole will slide back and forth when you get the strong winds, and that wall hits the leg. You get the strong winds, and it can knock that leg out. So that's the only option we had as far as thoughts. It fell down. That wind came, it blew that wall up, it sucked it back down, hit those legs, it just knocked too many legs out, and it knocked these legs back out, just like here. I'll show you on the slideshow. So that's our only option there, our only thought. So what we did was, we went inside, we went into Lowe's, and we actually brought some with us too. But we went and bought some stronger ones. We went and bought some strong screws. We bought 2.5-inch long screws. I think they were number 8 screws, pretty strong screws. We screwed those into the asphalt, and then we got our side pole and we set that on top of that screw. So basically anchoring that side pole down to the asphalt. So that pole cannot slide back and forth now unless that screw breaks. And like I said, we got a pretty strong screw. So anyway, that's what we did that time. We went back out there, we screwed a screw down on each pole, we set that pole on top of it, we tightened the tent back down, and that's what we did. So anyway, we did that, we tightened it back up, was really good tight. We left, called it a day, and let me show you how it fell down before we did that process. So this is how it looked before the screws were in the ground. So this is the second time it fell down here. Alright, so yeah, that there was the second time it fell down right there. So after that time is when we put these screws in the ground. So anyway, we did that. Then we left again. Everything should be fine now. We got pretty strong screws in the ground. Stakes are in the ground. Really, this tent is a solid tent that we put up this time. Anyway, we left. Came back to Wichita. This job is about 2.5 hours away from our town, so it's a pretty good travel time every time we do this. Anyway, we got about 3 days later again. Trees are now under the tent, but they call and they say the tent's falling again. So we told them to send us pictures, but they told us they needed it fixed as soon as possible. Like they wanted it done that day. So, and they actually called, not us, they called the tent company that hired us to do these jobs. So we don't have the contract. We got a contract through a different tent company, and we got hired to do these 11 locations. So they actually called them and told them that they have to be on site this time because it's fallen 3 times now. So they met us down there. It's about a 2-hour drive for them, and so we went down. They drove down there 2 hours. We drove there about 2.5 hours away. We met them down there. As we drive up, we see the tent still standing. We don't really know what the problem is. Like I said, we asked for pictures this time again, like we did the last couple of times, but this time they didn't have time to send us pictures. They just didn't do it. So we got down there, didn't really know what we were getting into this time. We brought a couple of supplies. We brought more screws. We brought more straps. We brought more stakes. we didn't really know what we were prepared for this time, so we brought a couple of different things. Anyway, we go down. All right, so we got to meet down there, and we got down there. We walked around the tent, assessed it a little bit. Didn't really see a reason why they called us this time. There wasn't anything wrong with it really. So we looked at it. We went in there, asked we called the manager out. We asked him what the problem was this time, and he came and showed us. Which we did see this problem. We did see this, but it wasn't nothing to call us for. So anyway, let me show you that picture here. All right, so there it was. There was that one pole that was out of place. That the screw did bust on, but that screw busted and that pole slid sideways, and that was the reason they called us down there. They even called, like I said, the company who hired us. They called out and had me down there as well. So that was it. We basically fixed that pole and left that time. Now we did check everything. We checked all the stakes, all the straps, tightened everything up again. We did put a new screw in that hole, and we actually put 2 more screws around it to help hold both sides of the pole as well. But anyway, that's what we did that time. We basically didn't do anything. It wasn't a big problem that time. Anyway, so we left there thinking it was still a good, strong, standing tent. So this is the 3rd trip we made down there. 4th trip, if you count the first time we did it. So 4 trips down there to this tent. And this is what we got going. So then they call, it was probably 2-3 days later, after that, and they said the tent totally collapsed this time. So we didn't really, we told them to send us pictures. Anyway, so they did send us pictures this time, and it did collapse. The top 2, the 2 center poles did fall down. Everything was on the ground. So let me go ahead and show you those pictures now. So yeah, there what it was. That is a 60 by 90 tent, a pole tent. It did fall down. The trees underneath it, so it was a big mess. Anyway, there it was. And as you can see in those pictures, also the straps. So we had straps around the whole tent, which was 2-inch ratchets, 8,000 pounds of brake strength per ratchet, and it broke. They broke 16 ratchets out of I think it was 34. So anyway, that was, I don't know, some strong winds, and broke those ratchets. I haven't seen that before. It broke that many ratchets. So basically, I broke the ratchets on the entrance side, and just shifted the whole tent sideways, and they just kind of fell over. Big mess that we had to clean up. Just hard. We had to get get off of all the trees. We had to get up there and push it, roll it. It was filled with water because it rained that night too. So we had it filled with water. Picked up our straps, picked up our ratchets, picked up everything. We just cleaned everything up. And this was on the Wednesday, the day before Thanksgiving, is when we're doing this job here, when it fell. So I guess it fell on Tuesday night, and Wednesday morning we were down there cleaning it up. Anyway, then the biggest sale of Christmas trees is apparently on that Black Friday. So we had to have a tent up, another tent up, or that tent up on Friday. Friday morning we had to have a tent up. So this tent could not go back in the air because of the lacing. Other than the lacing that was ripped up there, that you saw in the pictures, the whole tent was good. It was in good shape. There was 2 holes in the tent, which I don't know if I got on the pictures. They were both about 3 inches long or so, just from the piece of plywood that was under the tent, poked through the fabric. So pretty easy patch job. It's not a big deal there. The lace job we will have to send in and get fixed. But anyway, pretty good. Not very much damage for what happened. So anyway, so this tent could not go back up. I couldn't get back up that day. So, but they needed another tent up by Friday. So what we had to do was, we went home that night. We unloaded everything. This is about 8:30, 9 o'clock. We unloaded everything. We loaded everything up we loaded everything up that night for a Keeter, a 40 by 80 Keeter, which is a whole lot smaller than what they originally wanted, but it was about the best thing we could do at that time. Did not have another pole tent. This is what we had to do. So, and plus with the winds, if it fell down three or 4 times now, we just told them we'll do a Keeter tent for same price. We'll get it up. So anyway, that's what we did. We loaded it up that night, day before Thanksgiving. So on Thanksgiving, we had to go down there and put the tent up, to work with everybody's schedules, and try to get people the day off still. Not really getting the day off, but give them time with their families. We decided to go and leave at 4 o'clock in the morning. Got down there around 6:30, and started this Keeter tent. We put it up. We got back around 1 o'clock that day, 1:30, and we did Thanksgiving. So anyway, a big mess up. Like, don't really know the reason why the tent was falling down other than the first time. What we did kind of discuss with the people who hired us was that our aluminum poles have a base on them, plastic base, and just like a plastic water barrel, plastic does not have very it slides really easy on asphalt, so that could be helping it. I mean, that plastic, we probably need to knock that plastic piece off and just let metal touch the asphalt, which is, the plastic is not something we did, that came from the factory. So not sure why they're selling it that way, if that is the problem, but that was what we kind of brainstormed and found out. So if you having a problem with that, you may need to knock your plastic pieces off the bottoms if you got holes like that. Anyway, so that's how that happened. We did not get a charge any extra for the keyer tent. We did not get a charge any extra for the labor. This whole job was still the same price as if nothing ever happened. Probably lost money on this tent, on this one location at least, but made money over the whole thing. But that's what I've been dealing with through the Thanksgiving break, or Thanksgiving week area, and back then. Now we do have other tents going on. We're fixing to be taking down the Thanksgiving stuff, and I got other little jobs coming up. We did just purchase a bunch of tents. We drove to Illinois and purchased a bunch of tents and chairs, table chairs, all that stuff. About $20,000 worth. That will be coming up in another video, so stay tuned for that. And yeah, thanks for watching. I'll give you this little slideshow here of the keyer tent. But other than that, thanks for watching, and please like and subscribe. Something else I want to quickly mention real quick, I didn't mention. This last time when the tent totally collapsed, they did have, we were told they did have a tornado touch down about 30 minutes away from this location. So they couldn't tell me how strong the winds were, but they did tell me they had a tornado touch down and knock down some buildings about 30 minutes away from this location. So anyway, that was probably a very strong reason why the tent fell down and why you got strong winds to break those ratchets. But yeah, anyway, yeah, tornado about 30 minutes away, and that's what happened to our tent. So anyway, I don't know how strong the winds were. That's about all I know. But the last time, that's what we heard. So anyway, here's some pictures of the keyer tent and the final time we were down there. So far, now we got to take it back down here soon. But after we put the keyer tent up, no more complaints, no more tent falling down, nothing like that. So evidently, yeah, the legs just didn't like that asphalt. So that's what we're going with. And the last time, evidently the tornado knocked it down. So anyway, we'll get them all again next year, and I guess learn from that. And there's a little tip for you to cut your legs off if you need to, but cut your tent pole legs off. But anyway, here's a little slideshow of our last stop of the keyer tent going up.